Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited, Trig to introduce their new slimline stack products at AirVenture. The air cargo business is picking up for Atlas. ForeFlight is good to go with iOS 8.4. I'm Bree Cross. It is July 3rd, 2015, and this is Airborne Unlimited. Trig Avionics tells us that they're unveiling their new avionic stack products for the first time at EAA AirVenture this year. Trig says its TY96 and TY97 aviation radios define a new standard in dual 25 kHz and 8.33 kHz radio design with a slimline case that is only 1.3 inches high. They are being touted as the perfect replacement for older legacy radios such as the KY196A, KY197A, or SL40. The TY96 10-watt power and TY97 16-watt power radio features include push-step, providing faster tuning, and Say Again, which allows instant playback of your last transmission. An emergency button automatically sets 121.5 MHz and volume levels. A USB port allows the upload of an airfield database, which can contain over 200 preferred frequencies and identifiers. Trig is also showing off two new audio panels at Oshkosh, the TMA44 and TMA45. Both models are dual comm, dual nav, and fully featured audio panels. The TMA45 has comprehensive entertainment features and Bluetooth wireless support for music and mobile devices. With the air cargo market showing signs of life, Atlas Air Worldwide Holdings has brought a 747-400 freighter out of storage in the desert with plans to put the airplane back in service. The cargo airline is also buying two Boeing 767 airliners for conversion to freighters, according to a company news release. In addition, the company has expanded its Titan Dry leasing portfolio by acquiring two Boeing 767 aircraft. These will be leased to DHL Express following their conversion from passenger to freighter configuration in the fourth quarter of this year. The 767s complement a Boeing 757 freighter recently dry leased to DHL. By year-end 2015, Atlas Air worldwide cargo operations are expected to include 10 747-8Fs and 23 747-400 freighters. It also expects to have two 747-400s and three 767-300s, providing passenger service to the U.S. military and other charter customers. After the break, ForFlight is back to normal with new iOS update.
The KSN 770 is an affordable, WAS-enabled integrated MFD with a flexible hybrid user interface from Bendix King. Get your fingers on the 770's perfect blend of touchscreen and hard buttons. Easily control your GPS navigation, Navcom, weather, traffic, and terrain in any condition. For more information, go to bendixking.com.
Redbird is quickly becoming the industry standard for flight training. Since Redbird introduced its revolutionary FMX in 2007, colleges, universities, and flight training operations around the world have integrated Redbird products into their curriculum. It's time to discover what Redbird can do for you. Join the migration.
AML's patent-pending wireless induction charging system eliminates confusion over those charging cables, cuts down cockpit cable clutter, and allows you and your passengers to fly cordless and eliminate the cable nightmare. www.aviationmodificationleaders.com.
There's a difference between charting a steady course and pushing for the ceiling. And for nearly a century, Hartzell Propeller has been defining that difference. It's in our passion for engineering and research and our dedication to testing the limits of performance. We are built on honor. We are Hartzell Propeller.
Welcome back. If you would like to be a supporter of Airborne Unlimited, send an email to jim@aero-news.net. Now users of ForFlight can get back to operation as usual. The iOS 8.4 update that was pushed out Tuesday has resolved GPS issues that cropped up with the previous version of ForFlight software. ForFlight said in a customer notice that was released to the media, quote, "We are happy to report that the GPS accessory compatibility issue that resulted from the Apple iOS 8.3 update is resolved with the iOS 8.4. We have performed a quality review of the Bad Elf GPS Pro, Bad Elf GPS Pro Plus, Dual X GPS 150, and Dual X GPS 160 on a Wi-Fi iPad running iOS 8.4, and these devices perform as expected." End quote. ForFlight said yesterday that they have completed their general ForFlight mobile compatibility testing of the public version of Apple iOS 8.4. They recommend caution when it comes to any iOS update. However, according to their website, their testing did not reveal any significant issues. It's Friday, and that means that it's time for ANN CEO and Editor-in-Chief Jim Campbell to check in with his weekly Barnstorming commentary. Recent events have shown once again that the general media has little respect for accuracy when reporting on aviation issues. Here is this week's Barnstorming.
Thanks, Bree, and hi, folks. Something happened the other day, something awful, as it occasionally occurs. A very good, very professional, very highly scrutinized pilot, an airshow pilot in particular, was involved in an accident and lost his life. We've seen this story before. Even the best and brightest, and believe me, I know this better than most, occasionally fall heir to an issue of timing, an issue of mechanics, an issue of physics, or an issue of just occasional problems with judgment. This business, the airshow business, is incredibly precise, quite fault intolerant, and let's face it, very, very complex. So when I watch and read how it was treated in the media, both in print and in video, television in particular, it really is disappointing when I see precision aerobatic maneuvers described as stunts and individual maneuvers as flips and dives. It was ridiculous. I watched a KSN.com piece byline by 3 reporters from KSHB-TV just treat this story as far less seriously as it could possibly have been. They apparently made little or no effort that I could see to get proper and aeronautically correct terminology in play and to understand what occurred. Plain fact of the matter is this: the best and brightest occasionally die. It happens crossing a sidewalk. It happens in your sleep. It happens taking a bath. And yes, it can occasionally happen in an air show. But an airshow pilot is a professional. They've been scrutinized by many flight instructors up the way. They've been scrutinized by the International Council of Air Shows and the ACE program. They've been scrutinized countless times by the FAA. Their aircraft are carefully inspected and adhere to a number of FARs and procedures to make sure that when we put our best and brightest on display before the public, that the best and brightest of us rarely disappoint. Fact of the matter is, we lost a marvelous aviator, Steve Oberg, phenomenal military career, great record as a commercial pilot, and from all intents and purposes, a phenomenal record as an airshow pilot, flying at Pitts S2B. It was a tragic accident. We don't know what happened, and we're not going to guess at it. We simply know that one of our best has fallen. But this phenomenal aviator deserved better than he got. The pilot was a professional who received extensive scrutiny from his peers, among them the International Council of Air Shows and the FAA. The airplane did not do flips and dives. It did a series of planned precision aerobatic maneuvers according to an approved airshow sequence that was practiced again and again before being performed at an actual airshow. This was a good pilot, a professional, qualified airshow pilot that had a tragic accident and deserved the respect of journalists covering the event. At least somebody doing more than 30 seconds worth of research in accurately relating the tale of a horrible tragedy. If a so-called journalist is not up to checking his facts and detailing what's known to them at the time, then he or she should pass this story off to somebody who knows. And let me tell you, ANN takes calls every day of the week. What's happening with this? How do I understand that? We will drop anything and everything to help our general media journalists understand aviation. And I know many of my brethren and sisters in the aviation media will do the same. We know that aviation lives and dies to a certain extent by how the world perceives us. And unfortunately, a lot of that perception comes from the general media. But the general media fell short again and again, and they failed Steve Oberg. And in so doing, they failed all of us. When you see this stuff happen, folks, pass it along to me, send me a link. We'll send them a note to whoever's responsible, let them know that there are people in aviation that care about accuracy, that care about professionalism, and if they don't, we do, and we'll help them, at least to understand what they obviously do not. The aviation world depends upon respect and professionalism within its ranks, and outside of it as well. For the Aero-News Network, Airborne and Aero-TV, I'm Jim Campbell. And to all those who knew Steve Oberg, you have our respect and our prayers.
After these messages, collegiate women pilots do well.
Concorde's recombinant gas RG series sealed battery technology produces a high-performance battery with the advantages of being pre-tested and fully charged at the factory. Find out more about Concorde's entire line of batteries at www.concordebattery.com. Concorde, the heart of your aircraft.
Now certified, Aspen Avionics single-band ADS-B, ATX-100 and ATX-100G transceivers are the next-gen ADS-B solution that provides the features pilots need while keeping flyaway costs low. Check it out now at aspenavionics.com.
Sandia introduces the new SAI 340 Quattro TSO'd airspeed, attitude, altitude, and slip. With integral backup battery, safety never looked so good. See it now at www.sandia.aero.
Welcome back. With so much news coming out of the aviation industry, we're summarizing some other interesting stories in a brief segment we call Around the Patch. Embry-Riddle Prescott campus pilot captain Claire Schindler and co-pilot Erica Deals secured a fourth-place finish overall among 54 teams of this year's Women's Air Race Classic. They also placed third in the collegiate division. A&N salutes all three Embry-Riddle teams. Houston, we have a spaceport. The FAA has granted a launch site license to Houston Airport System, which enables Ellington Airport to establish itself as a launch site for reusable launch vehicles, making it the 10th commercial spaceport in the United States. The Navy has a successful launch. With the launch of the first sled from the aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford, the Navy continues to make history with the electromagnetic aircraft launch system. May the magnetic force be with you. The FAA and General Aviation groups join in the Fly Safe campaign. The first of several safety subjects to be addressed is that of accidents caused by loss of control. The initial program will address the advantage of angle of attack indicators. The FAA has issued an NFO to inform operators and repair facilities of potential failures of Gates products that are not designed for aviation use. An experimental amateur-built rotorway helicopter suffered damage when the main rotor drive belt failed. Well, that's our trip around the patch. Now let's move on to the rest of the news. One of the most spectacular UAV shots that hit the internet last year was a video of fireworks captured using a quadcopter flying through the display. And while you may be tempted to try this at your local 4th of July celebration, just don't try it at the National Mall in Washington, D.C., or pretty much anywhere else in the D.C. area. The FAA has issued an advisory to residents of and visitors to the D.C. area that the city and the surrounding communities are a no-drone zone. The prohibition against flying any type of unmanned aircraft or drone without specific approval includes the District of Columbia and cities and towns within a 15-mile radius of Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. Violators face stiff fines and criminal penalties. So if you're in the Washington, D.C. area for the 4th, enjoy the holiday, but leave your drone at home. Well, that's our program for today. Remember to get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. Remember that Airborne Unlimited is streamed daily Monday through Friday, with additional breaking news bulletins for important stories that fall outside of our normal deadlines. Please join us and a growing roster of over 100 outstanding industry associations and organizations every weekday for the best in aviation and aerospace news from the staff of the Aero-News Network, the aviation world's most comprehensive news and information resource. Have a wonderful and safe 4th of July weekend, and we will see you Monday.